Are you feeling poorer than the average American? Well, we got some stats that might either confirm or deny your suspicion. Let's get into it.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go.
So it's just a song, but so this person says, okay, behind, they put a cute white heart, awesome, nice. I feel warm. The average American has $105,000 worth of debt. Wow. So average person walking around, we always talk about six-figure salary. You walk around with six-figure owning somebody. That's kind of crazy. That's interesting. We don't know if this is true. I don't know. I don't know the merits of this person, but I'm sure
Hold,
it's the
hold
average
on, let me
American's
see.
like
Yeah, she did her homework. She did her homework. Let me see.
this. This is true.
Yeah, because I'm looking. The average American household debt in 2024 was approximately 105,056. So yeah, she right.
Oh, okay, I see. She kind of extrapolated to household, but still, that's okay. Has a $329,000 mortgage. That number, it sounds crazy to me, only because I don't know. I'm thinking about it's my southern brain, I guess. I'm thinking about the properties down there, but when you think about these $1 million houses up north, I can see it averaging to the half a mil.
Let me see. Average. When you see that, what are your like? Do you
Ooh,
plan on doing that, or like what's the?
man, that sounds. I ain't gonna say scary, but I'm gonna say scary. Like, ooh, that it sounds like a lot of. That sounds like a lot of money to be committed to. Like, that's a lot of money.
Okay,
It's not.
so okay, the average mortgage debt in America is around 230,918 per household. She said 328.
Rounded
We
up,
not
it's
going.
cool. It's
Yeah,
fine.
we not gonna quarrel over it. But
Still,
yeah,
it's
man,
still.
that's
Well, I guess it kind of makes sense because I mean, it's not like everyone's about to have their mortgage paid off. Everyone is either I don't know. I mean, of course, some people are towards the end of their mortgage, but the majority are either at the beginning of the mortgage or in the middle of it. So there's still a lot left to pay on it. So I guess it makes sense.
yep. And think about the country, like prices are all over the place, and so and so it's probably a average. I don't think it's the median. Um, Now this next one is interesting. Is the
It is
salary, and it's
average
because yeah,
American. The average American. Now, what are you saying? The average American. Okay.
yeah, the average salary of 66,000. So one, my thing is, why would you want to compare yourself to average?
Right. That's true.
Now we know that if you want to be average, that's easy. Just do what just move along, right? And fighting for being average. Imagine like I'm fighting for average. My thing is, okay, you looking at it, you like, okay, well, I don't plan on being average. So let me do some things that are extraordinary or above average and do better. Double your income, get to six figures. Easier said than done. So I ain't gonna, I'm not, but like start working on a path to help you get what that looks like. Work to, whatever path gets you there is really a business decision. It's not an emotional decision. It's like, okay, what are my options? What does that look like? Is that getting into a trade? Is that getting into professions that if you're in that profession long enough, it typically leads to the path of six figures. Nothing else. Not, well, how can I fit my current career path into six figures? No, 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 no. Looking at what paths get you into six figures. And of course, just making sure you pick something that you have an interest in. It's not about picking something you don't want to do. Like, so that's kind of the obvious that hopefully you would pick something that you want to do. But then here's the other part, you have to stick with it long enough. You got to put in that work if we talk about a career path. So, like, obviously, hopefully you going into a highly valued skill set that you can learn. Because the other part is too is you can parlay that into doing something on the side for yourself as well. That's my thoughts. $66,000.
Man, and I feel like that, you know, it's interesting to see that I don't know if that was the average 5-10 years ago, but I mean, it makes sense that would go up a little bit, same way inflation does. But I don't know. It's interesting. I don't think I've seen it for just the average American. They always break it down into white, black, man, woman, this, that, this region, state. So it's cool to just see as a whole. That's interesting. And then the next one is even more interesting. I feel like it's become an older age. I feel like this was probably much younger 20, 30, 40 years ago. So
Yeah. Average age of first time home buyer. Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. And
now, to your point, the median first time home buyer age jumped from 28 in 1991, to your point, to 38 in 2024. But here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to talk about. So you said it was scary for home ownership, but when it comes to wealth building and we're talking about middle class, most people have their wealth in two places: their 401ks and the equity in their homes. And so for the folks that are kind of like in that earlier stage of being a millionaire, it's usually held in those two places. It doesn't mean that they have an extravagant lifestyle. It just means that their home may have appreciated over time as they've held on to it. And then they put money in their 401ks. Boring, dull, like nothing fancy about it. And so here's the thing. When people say, I don't want to buy a home, then what is it that you're going to do to build wealth? Are you going to like how are you going to build wealth? Because typically equity, stock market, the equities, the stock market, and then the real estate. So you got so in America, this is America: real estate, stock market, business. Those are the things that, and if you're trying to build wealth, assets, you have to buy assets. So what does that look like? And if you're waiting to 38, you know, that's fine. But were you at least in the market the entire time? Because some people may only do the market, but like they go double down and go hard in the market. And are you that person? Are you going to go more bullish on real estate? Are you going to do a combination of both? But just understand, but the reason I started with where most people hold their wealth is because it's in their 401ks and in their home that they own. So a lot of stuff you see on TikTok, YouTube, this article, that article, that's usually primarily where a lot of people have their wealth stored. So it puts it in perspective when you hear people talking about all this stuff that you be hearing, you realize, oh, those are major outliers. Not saying that you can't be an outlier, but you do need to be grounded in understanding what the data is saying.
Speaking of the data, do you believe that 8 out of 10 Americans have a car loan?
Yeah, I could believe that. I mean, so when you out and when you at the stop sign, you look to your right, look to your left. You should payments should be. You should see payments in your head like 1,500, 1,250, 375. Well, that's 375 is kind of low. 900. So when you be seeing the Mercedes, you be seeing this, you be seeing that. My thing is, it ain't on me to navigate and figure out all that, but it's not too far reach. Most people do take out loans, leases, and finance it, all that stuff. Yep. So it's you're definitely not normal if you're paying cash for vehicles. It's not normal. I'll say it that way.
I agree.
And people will shame you. You paying cash. Like, no, I just like the peace of mind of not having a car long, because that is a wealth building killer. Because as soon as you buy it, it's going down. It's not appreciating. Cars aren't ever appreciating.
I'm more surprised at the next one. At only 48% of Americans carry a credit card balance each month. I thought it would be much higher, at least 60.
How many Americans carry credit card debt? Yep. Was it? And so, okay, I see where she got this from. She got this from she got it from a bank rate survey.
Mm.
Okay. I mean, what is your take on carrying a balance?
I mean, I ideally I'd say not to do it. Um, it's just a slippery slope when you start, because eventually you stop paying the balance. You're really paying the interest. You know, you start falling into that minimum payment trap. But it says almost half of Americans do it, so seems like a booming industry. Shoot, but
So I'll keep it real. I remember there was a time that, because I know the mindset. I had the mindset. Now we pay it off every month. It's done. I know the mindset though, because you start off as innocent. It's not like you're trying to finesse and get over. But what happens is, years back, you got a car. First of all, I got a car. The way I even got a car was in college, and it's because at the pizza spot, if you sign up for a credit card, you would get a free pizza. Talk about a
wow,
finesse. That's so
that's
silly.
that's
And I'm
crazy.
more silly for sign. Oh yeah, I can get a free pizza. But you know, you in college, you know what I'm saying? You ain't really connected to that. Like, hold up, you might want to take a step back. Free pizza for a credit card, like,
That's
yo,
predatory.
make that make
And
sense. So so yeah, I just had to be open. Like, I know what that feels like. I was once there. So the mindset is, well, okay, so I get paid in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
I'm looking at my account. You know how, like, when you at the restaurant and you look up your account record, yeah, and you thinking like, well, I'll just put it on the card, and as soon as I get paid, I'll take care of it. But that's one thing. Then you do it again. But then when you get paid, you still got your regular bills. And depending on how much you make, what ends up happening is you get in this continuous cycle of deferred, like you. So then you get paid, you might put a little something on it, like a little something on it, but then you keep that behavior pattern up, and before you know it, you blink, $2,000 balance.
You're like, what
Or
the? Who spent that?
what? And
You.
then you like, what did I don't even remember what I got. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta
Like, and
start reading
so,
deal statement. Like, no, it's a mistake. It's got to be. No, I did. I did get that. Dang, I did go to Target. I'm tripping. It's like,
but here's where it gets interesting. You keep doing it. And so it's like so slow. It like slowly compound. Slow, and then you start getting the bill, and it tells you, well, if you pay $25, the minimum payment, you'll pay it off in year 21, 22. 21,
oh
22.
Lord.
You know what I'm saying? Because
None of it's gonna be here. Well, except for the
and so,
company.
and so it's like musical chairs. You know how they play the music, everybody, and then the music stop and everybody's fighting for the chair. Well, what happens is you keep doing it. The music is playing. You keep doing it. You keep doing it. Music stop. You lose your job.
Mm.
Credit cards still do.
Yep.
Now you in a conundrum. It can happen just like that. What used to be wild to me is how people used to have 50, 60, 70, 80 grand of credit card. Did they, You still can get credit card. But I remember it was a lot more free flowing with credit cards at that time. It used to be crazy. But anyway, pay the bottom line. It's a double-edged sword. Understand what credit cards are. It always been like that. You get lured in with points, but what ends up happening, you usually to get the points, you have to spend hundreds. You got to spend thousands and thousands of dollars for the points to even make sense. A lot of times, and you be faking you be talking yourself into making purchases that you normally wouldn't make to justify points. And so they got this thing psychologically down to a T on how people are. And so I would even admit, yeah, we got a lot of points, and yeah, we use a credit card every month, but we do spend more because we use that card. And it is scientifically proven that if you use a card, you spend more money versus when you pay cash for something. There's a psychological thing that's happening when your dollars are leaving your hands and you looking like, dang,
Yeah,
man, it's going down. I ain't got that much left. That hit a little bit different from what I just have my wallet. Like you like, oh yeah,
bang. You playing domino. Bang.
You put it out there. And so
you got attitude.
It disassociates that emotional part that like, hey, money is leaving my pocket. Like money is leaving. So don't do that. Don't fall into the trap. I've fallen into the trap, but no longer fall into that trap anymore. But just don't lie to yourself. That's all I'm saying. Don't lie to yourself. Let's keep going.
Nah, plastic's powerful, but I was gonna say it's hard to pay off that balance if you need to, especially if you're in a crunch. If like these other people, the less than 35% of Americans have less than $1,000 in their savings account. That sounds scary. I'm terrified. I don't. So when you combine that, I'm sure some of that 35% is mixed in with that 48% that's carrying credit card balances a month, and so that's probably why they're using credit to float money that they don't have. So I don't know. I don't want to rag on people, but you gotta. It's almost like the house is on fire. This is an emergency. I need to get to $1,000. I need to get to 4 digits in my account.
Yeah, it's I would be so scared if I only had $1,000. And it's saying that 35% people have less than 1,000. So if you find yourself in that situation, first of all, it's hard to think logically when you in that state. So it's saying, hey, you need to level up. Hey, you need to make more money. It's like I'm literally like you holding on for dear life, like for real, like survival mode, fight or flight. Like you are in. So it's thinking rationally is just usually you just day by day, and that's where you get it. You really make bad decisions when you live. That's where you start payday loans. You start just making bad decisions. You start, you know what? Let me see if I can get another credit card. Let me just keep paying the minimum, and then let me see if I can get another credit card. Then I'm gonna transfer this balance to that. You start getting creatively but you're doing untamed things. Like our other video, like Untamed. That's what did it say? For real, for real. Like what was it? For real?
Pharaoh.
You start doing crazy stuff, right? And so it just gets crazy. And so my biggest thing is you got to find a way to stabilize your life. And I'm not saying it's gonna be easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But if you want to break the cycle, you got to do something different, and you have to be different. And $1,000, getting to $1,000, that's great. But sometimes you got to have people in your life that will tell you the truth and like, hey, you need to do something drastically different in order to get a drastically different result.
Man,
last one. I'll let you close us out here. Paycheck to paycheck, man. That's
more than half. That's a lot. Sheesh.
And while I'll let you comment, and I'm gonna look up something while you're doing that.
So 57%, these all really tie in together. 57% of people live paycheck to paycheck. Man, that's so, and that kind of makes me think. I was thinking, like, what situation would lead you to have less than $1,000 in savings? And so I'm thinking it's either your overhead is killing your salary. It's a lot of different combinations. You could be, but the main two things is either what you're making, your income versus what you're having to spend, your overhead. Because it reminds me of, like, maybe somebody who just graduated, who maybe they don't have to pay rent, but they don't have a job. They don't, regardless of what your scenario is and where you fall on those sliders of overhead and income, you got to either focus on increasing and decreasing them. You got to either, you can't feel stuck. I'm trying to speak to people that's in that mode right now, where they're like, I don't know what I can do. KB, I got $500. I'm trying to make 600. I don't know what to do. But you just can't feel stuck. And if you can't do something about your immediate situation, what I'm saying is you might have to be screwed for the next 2 months, and that's okay. But okay, you don't have to be screwed for the next year, 2 years, 3 years. Start thinking, like, start putting the building blocks together on how to change your situation.
Okay. A significant portion of Americans earning over 100,000 annually are still living paycheck to paycheck, according to 50% of them, according to CNBC. So some of it is behavior patterns, personal finance, money management. Some of it could be cost of living. The one that always throw me off is if it's a high cost of living area, I have to make a business decision to leave. That's a novel concept. Leave. Because otherwise you're gonna be lit. You're gonna feel like poverty. Like you're gonna feel like you always stressed. And it's because it's a high cost. If you live in a high cost of living area, it's mandatory, in my opinion, only my opinion, to have a high income or business or side hustle to combat that. I don't know how else you combat it. How? I mean, how?
It's not even like you saying combat it. It's almost like they're vetting you out. Like I'm saying, like they need to see your income a lot of them places before they let you in. Depend on the apartment place or whatever. And I'm only speaking to the renting side of things. I'm sure on the mortgage things and the mortgage side of things that's even more strict. You gotta pay to play to get in.
But here's the thing. There used to be a time where you can finesse pay stubs.
Oh man.
And now with AI coming in, it's gonna mess up some people. You can finesse employment. You can get people to like, hey man, say I used to work there, and you be my reference, or hey, let's doctor up a pay stub. Like, man, bruh, people get super creative to do what they need to do. Well, and by the way, you should never do that. But I'm just telling you, back in the day, people could do that, but now it's going to get a lot more difficult with AI and things like that. That's going to be able to detect some of those things a little bit more closely. Don't land yourself in jail. But yeah, that paycheck to paycheck, man, you're right though. Like, it's rough. Paycheck to paycheck is not a way to live. Now, I do believe in I do like zero-based budgeting. That's one option, because I mean, we're gonna educate you too. A zero-based budget, but then the other one that I like too is reverse budgeting. I like reverse budgeting, where you take care of like the important things. You pay yourself first, a certain percentage, whatever that looks like, and then everything else you just spend. So I like reverse budgeting because while I was in the grind, paying off debt, all that, we was doing zero-based budget, everything accounted for everything. So kind of like, and so you just had to be so intensely focused on. I've gotten to a point now where I'm like, man, I don't like, let me just make sure 50% is going to investing, savings, whatever. A portion is going to household, the household operational things, and then the rest can just do whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that's reverse budget. It's a simpler form of budgeting, but still handling your business. So, but I would recommend folks start with the zero-based budgeting, especially when you're looking to get a grasp on your finances.
Yep. It's like definitely, if like I said, if you're not where you want to be today, it doesn't have to be like that forever. Might be like that tomorrow and next week, but I promise it's you got to keep going. And like, if don't get into that emergency mode, don't succumb to that mindset and start doing crazy feral things like KB was saying and faking pay stubs, man. You might, like you said, you probably would have got away with that back in the day, but man, these databases, they keep your info, and they would, I hesitate to say, oh, we do not recognize that name is not matching any records in our database. No, you don't want to do it.
Yep. Yep. So don't be average is what my takeaway from this. It's good to understand the stats, but be better. Don't be average, be better, improve, take it one day at a time, get the support that you need. If you don't know what to do, we all find ourselves in that scenario in certain aspects of our lives, and one day at a time, things can get better. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until the next video, we out.